a second. Up the Ches, no? You may want to have this so it also shows this in case. Is that like in the... Good morning. Fine, we're up to Sif Ches. Shem Samach Gimel, Sif Ches. Hilchos Mavuy. Mavuy, I don't know what was explained yesterday or not. Mavuy is, the kids are like an alley or a side street, or more technical terms, it's a road that has three walls and not a fourth one. Whatever, and we'll go and move on. Lechi, so Mavuy is matter by a Lechi. Lechi shasoi mi'atzei Asherah kosher. But the problem of Atzei Asherah is by Lulav Atzei Asherah, you can't use Ches. Shin Samach Gimel Ches. Sorry. Lechi shasoi mi'atzei Asherah kosher. There's a din by a Lulav that if you can't use Atzei Asherah, Atzei Vodazar, because they're omitted to be burnt, so they don't really have. They're not considered to have a shear. Not considered to have any substance. A lechi is just coming lahatir. A mavuy does not actually need substance, so therefore even a mashu is enough. So therefore even from atzei asherah, it would be mutter to use. The point is heker, whatever. That's enough. Test. Bein sheniris blitas alechi laoindim besocha mavuy, whether things here, where let's say this is the lechi over here, whether the blitas lechi is only noticeable by those people standing inside the mavuy, enamir la'omdim b'chutz, meaning that it's meaning that it would be like let's say it would turn her over like this, something like this, so that the people from inside could see it, people from outside wouldn't be able to notice it, or engineers la'omdim b'chutz. Whether there's the case is that it's sort of like recessed over here. Let's say it's like this, so they can't see it from inside, but the people from outside can see it. So then that is and there's only bifnim kosher. Either way, it's kosher. They don't all have to see it. The point is that it's there. Herchiku me'akoisel gimel. If you pull it 3 tvachim away from the koisel, o shehigbiu me'aretz gimel, pasal. Or if it's up 3 tvachim up, it's pasal, because this is going to shita that lechi also has dinim of a mechitza, whether it creates a mechitza, cross, whatever, but al kapanim, so therefore if it's away from the koisel more than gimel, one is no heker. And also, if it's above 3 tvachim, so then it's like by a sukkah, which is gedi bokimbo. I mean, it's not considered. It's above the ground. It's like floating. That's not considered a mechitza. So therefore, that's possible. If it's above, if it's a little bit, above the ground, even though there's only zayin umashu. It's not, therefore that you're using the space to complete it, of level to complete it to 10, that's also kosher. Even if it's not there l'shem lechi, which is called in the Chazal, in the Gemara, lechi, the elov, there's something which was there already. You realize that before Shabbos or whatever, you realize that hey, there's someone leaned a broomstick against the mavuy, so that's great. Kosher, that's kosher. If you saw Erev Shabbos, someone left a broom or whatever, leaning, again, whatever, that's good. However, if you didn't see it in Erev Shabbos, let's say there was another lechi. Let's say the case was he knew about it. There was another lechi there. The nafal b'Shabbos, and that fell down on Shabbos. Let's say he had one on this side and the other one was over here, and he wasn't relying on it, but because here he built his lechi, l'mahadrin, and it fell down. So you can't be samech on that. However, if there wasn't another lechi, the Rambam says, if there was just this stick against the side over there, so the Rambam says that, however, that's only if you're B'dafka, not somich on that lechi, because you saw, okay, I have this, halachic lechi over here, and this guy over here, I don't care about. But if this guy was sitting there, and you didn't realize it until Shabbos morning, then that's okay. Yud Beis. Lechi ha'oimid me'elov, afilu samchul of Erev Shabbos. Again, the case of a lechi which was there for Erev Shabbos, and we're samichana. Ima Mavuy roch of yoser, because amos, if you have a Mavuy which is more than ches amos, im halachi boli l'socho, if it is sticking inside, if it's not on the edge over here, but instead it's on the inside, so then, or has like a bit of a structure sticking in, dal amos, edu nido mishum lechi. So let's say you have a lechi that's sticking in like this, right? So then already, that's not a lechi. But tzarech lechi acher la'atira, because this is considered a mechitza, and now this is the pesach to the Mavuy. The amdenu beruach shekenegdo, then you need to stick a lechi over here on the other side, because this is a mechitza, this lechi won't work, you need to stick something over here. The amdenu beruach shekenegdo, v'im yirtza la'amidu etzlo ya'asenu. If you want to stick a lechi over here, that's great. If you want to just add a little bit of something here, so no, this is the lechi, that's okay. It's not a mechitza. If you put it there, l'shem lechi, the is like kola. If this like part over here is everyone knows this is your lechi, so then the Mavuy zeh, even if it's very long, that's called a lechi because you announced it as a lechi, or if you write on it lechi, whatever you want to do, right? You give a lechi hamoshech im defano shamavuy shehemi bechudo kaget ofi akaisa. Let's say you have a lechi which this is the entrance, the lechi going out this way. The shaveh mi b'fnim, the nira mi b'chutz. Let's say it's shaved, it's equal to the wall, but you can tell it's a lechi b'chutz. She'ein chudo shelechi mechasa ko ovei adoifen, pachos vidal amos, nido mishum lechi. It's still a lechi. If it's, meaning if the wall is thicker and this side is a bit thinner and so therefore it just covers like part of the end of the wall. So then, it is a lechi, mishtamish im chudo apnimi, and you're allowed to call the chudo apnimi, this part here, if it's a little bit whatever, as a lechi, in chudo apnimi, sorry, one second. Dal amos nido mishum, im chudo apnimi, dal amos, however, if the chudo apnimi sticks out, dal amos, then nido mishum mavuy, of also lishtamish chol hamavuy she'ein kan lechi. So if let's say this piece over here is very thick, and first of all it looks like if the chudo pnimi, if it's like you put some sort of thick block or some sort. Sorry, you put some sort of thick block. I don't know, thick block over here. Of some sort, then that would be considered whatever. Then this would be considered, even though it's like a big thick block, whatever. This would be considered as a mavuy, not as a lechi, because it's blocking off part of it.
I don't understand this case. You said it was flush, and then we said that sticking out of your...
No, there's two cases here. There's two cases. The first case is that it's flush. It's just here. It's less than the thickness of the wall. The second case is, what if it's very thick, and then it sticks out al amos? What would be the din? And what would be the din in that? What would be the din in that case? Right. The point being is that even if it's thinner, that's okay. If it's thicker and it goes out al amos, even as one piece, then that's considered this is considered, that's considered part of the Mavuy. It's not considered a Lechi. Yudalid od yesh hechsher acher l'Mavuy. That was all the dinim of a Lechi, which has, again, Lechi has the dinim of a heker and has the dinim of a mechitza. Od yesh hechsher acher l'Mavuy aporitz beruch revi'is bekoireh shenechenu arosh ha'Mavuy. That talking about a Korah which you stick. No, too short. Which you stick on top of the end of the Mavuy over here, right? This is Mishum HaHeker. Let's say you stick two things out from over here, and then you rest it on the outside. I feel a b'samuch lo v'nichav aleim. Postal, you say you stick it out over here. Well, this is on a wall. Let's say you stick it out over here. That's postal. Has to be on the walls of the lechi. It's of the mavuy itself. It has to be sitting on it to matter the mavuy. However, if it wasn't made for that purpose, so you made it for some sort of for Torah, whatever it is. I feel some Shabbos psula. By a lechi, it's fine. But by a Korah, if it just happens something sitting there, it's not okay. Tezayin Korah zu shamarnu tzricha shir. It needs to have, unlike a lechi, it has to have some sort of shir to it. Therefore, if you use atzei ashera, even though it's sitting there, but since it's not halachically does not have a shir, then it's possible. Even there's a sreifa kaima. Again, the difference between a lechi and the Korah has to be knickers. You have to actually see it. So even though yes, you see a shera, but it's a halacha. The halacha Moshe Sinai that a Korah needs to have a shear. So therefore, this halachically has no shear. So therefore, it won't work. Shear haKorah. What's the size of a Korah? Rochva tefach has to be a rochav of a tefach. Vavera kosher, we're talking about let's say a beam of wood, which is, or a 2x4, something like that. These types of things. It has to be a roichav of a tefach. But as long as Oveha kosher, it could even be like a piece of, like a piece of paper, like this, whatever. It could be even a piece of paper. As long as it's wide enough, even if it's kosher. Right.
The width has to face the ground. Does the width have to face the ground?
Yeah, because it has to be rak kadei shechazaka ilakabel ariach shichatz levena shel gimel tfachim. It has to be. It can be kabel a brick chatz levena of gimel tfachim. V'imirachu dal tfachim ein tzach liot chazaka lekabel ariach. So if it's thin, it can be flat. I mean, not a piece of paper. I don't know if it works.
Can it really be a piece of paper?
If it was a strong piece of paper, probably the piece of paper is not strong, but it could be thin.
You talk about like a really like a corrugated cardboard or something like that. Be mutter?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Right. So as long as it's strong enough to, or you have a very thin piece of plastic that acrylic, whatever it is, if it's super thin, razor thin, that's but solid, then that would be fine.
I guess in my mind's eye, I'm looking at plastic as a completely different type of material.
Yeah, but you can use plastic. Yeah. All right. Ma'amidim dahainu. What's ma'amidim? Dahainu im he nismechas al yasedos. Let's say you have a couple of pegs or posts sticking out from the thing, and it's resting on those things. These things themselves don't have a tefach. Nor are they 3 tefachim in length. They have to be strong enough to go ahead and to hold the Korah and to hold the levena as well. You don't need them to be able to makabel the weight. There has to be, the Korah has to be roy, that if you would go ahead and you would stick it there, it could makabel the weight, and once that's roy for that, then you could just stick it on top of the ma'amidim, the posts or the hooks, whatever it is, and that's okay. Nails, screws, whatever it is. You test, imaisa haKorah agula, if you have a circular stick, like a broomstick or something like that, it needs to have a circumference of 3 tefachim, so therefore the diameter would be a tefach, and according to pi, I mean, they round down, whatever, but and that would be considered rachva tefach, or mekil akopanim, but it's the rabbanon, be rachva tefach, and that would be enough to be considered wide enough for Korah. Haisa akuma, v'akmimusa noite lechut. Let's say it's a bit, crooked or something like this, and the crook and the akmimus is sticking outside. Then noite lechut or lamala midaled, or let's say it's higher up than dal tfachim from above the base of the walls, or lamata miyud, or it sticks down into the yud tfachim of the Mavuy, with the base of yud tfachim. You chop off the part the crooked part. So this part over here, this crooked part over here, we say it's straightened out. So if there's gimel tfachim and it's like this, so then that would be fine because there's lavud. But if it's much wider, then that's a problem. If it's sticking out from one kaisa but doesn't touch the other one, so let's say you have a Korah and you stick it on like this. You stick it on top of a amud or something like that. You prop it up. Or it's like 2 amud or whatever. There's 2 of them and they connect. They connect in them and they're sticking out to the middle. Because that's considered lavud, and that's okay. Yesh b'neim gimel psula, but if they're further apart, then that wouldn't be considered one Korah, and that's a problem. It doesn't matter haitzah. Chav beis hiniach shtei Korahs zu b'tzad zu v'lo b'zu l'kabel ariach lo b'zu l'kabel ariach. So let's say you have two like this. So you have 2 like this. One, they're both very thin. They can't hold the weight of an ariach. But let's say in between them, you're able to go ahead and stick an ariach between them. Let rest on both of them. So then that. The rachva, the hainu tefach, ve'ein bein zulu gimel tfachim, and they're next to each other, close up to gimel tfachim. Ein tzarech lahavi Korah acheres, that's good enough. V'im lav tzarech lahavi Korah acheres, if it's not gimel tfachim together, then you need to bring a different Korah. Yeshom shetzarech shiu kroiva zulu zu b'soch tefach. Some say love is not enough. We're not talking about over here. We're not talking about halachah b'chitza or whatever. We're talking about a Korah, and a Korah needs to be able to makabel in a riach. If that's the case, with a tefach, so therefore they have to be. You want to make them kilo, and they're one Korah. They need to be tzarich a tefach to be considered to makabel a riach of a tefach. Because otherwise, that's the share. It has nothing to do with the b'chitza. If one is higher up, one is higher up than the other, so then we look at it as if the top one is equal, is shaveh, and the bottom one's up. Because if it's even if they're not within, if they're a big hefresh, as long as it's not 10 tvachim, as long as one's not below yud is not going to work because that's under the height of a mavuy, and one above chof is also not going to work if that's above the height of a korah. So then it's okay. Below you, or you, well, that's wrong. Not that there's a hefesh of 10 tvachim. Really, b'nei gimel tvachim, l'begoy v'l'b'meshech. What we're talking about over here, let's say there are different levels. One's below your tvachim and one's above chaf. Then that won't work. And also, if it's in the middle, they have to be within gimel tvachim of each other. Below begoy v'l'b'meshech, or kusharoim, oisa shiyardu zu, also zu, b'kavana achiyasu zu b'tzazu, v'yesh paislim. Some say, you don't say that. By sukkah, you say that. It's called chavot rami. By sukkah, if the beams go up and down, we say that's good enough for schach. But we don't say that by a kaira of eruvin. Pius al hakayra mechatzeles ve'ena nogas ad akarka. So let's say you have your kaira and you hang a sheet hanging down from it, from both sides, whatever. If it's above gimel tvachim, sula. So then you have a problem. Sharei kisa hakayra, you covered the kaira. Ve'ena niris, you can't see the kaira. It looks like a sheet. Seder, that's not matir. Ubatla miyois kaira. Umechitza gamkein ena, it's not a mechitza. Kivan shegvoy me'aretz gimel. Since it's higher than gimel, your mechitza needs to be toch gimel. So, if you have a wide kaira, v'nim sheches ksas l'mata miyud kshera. However, there's a slightly different case of, let's say you have a very wide, very thick kaira, and part of it goes, hangs down below yud. So that is kshera, because you can tell it's a kaira, even if it's a very thick kaira. You can tell that it is a korah. It's not. It's nicker. Chafei not you say this akumos al shnei koislei mavuy. Let's say you put crooked some sort of crooked beam on the side of the mavuy. Nasan korah aleihem ve'ein b'yasedos tefach, and these things don't have a tefach. Shehu shir korah. So you have you want to put a korah on top of this crooked thing. They themselves can't be called a korah. If they're not above shloisha, they're very tzamut to the koisel. Gimel, and they're not curved gimel. They're a little bit crooked or something like that. Then we consider it as if they're considered part of the salim of the mavuy. Then we say it's part of the mavuy, and the kaira resting on top is touching the mavuy if it's within gimel. However, gimel, if they're, let's say, they're 3 tvachim higher, or they're 3 tvachim away. So then, psula. Then it's not part of the mavuy. A kaira has to rest on the walls of the mavuy, not on yasedos, not on sticks. Chavav, how the mavuy nita b'lechi a kaira, that which a mavuy is we matter with a lechi or a kaira. Dafka she'enu namuch pachas yutfachim. That's only when the mavuy itself is not less than yutfachim. Again, we're talking about, you have short walls, going down the side of the street or whatever it is. So then, you can't do a shituf muvos. Well, you'll get into later on what's the difference between shituf muvos and eruv. It's not called a mavuy, it's less than gimel tvachim. Dafka she'enu namach pachos v'yutfachim, mervachim. Mervachim means there's two things, and Sukkah talks about it, whether a tefach is a tefach, either it's tzamud or it's mirvach. Let's get the lashon over there. That it's tefach seichik, I think it's called. That it's a wider tefach. There's a wider one, and some one talking about a wider tefach. V'lo rachva yoser yud amos. So it can't be that it's wider than yud amos. Some amos. Some amos means that the tefach which is squeezed. Mishihei archal dalid amos. Or it has to be the length has to be dal amos, or yoser aval im choser echad mikol elu ein lo takana. You can't be misakin el b'tzuras hapesach. The only way you can't use a lechi to matir, you need an actual tzuras HaPesach. However, it's a very tall Mavuy. Then you can't use a Korah because you can't see it, right? Anything above 20 amas is not, it's not nikkur, you can't see it's there. However, you can stick a lechi you can stick a lechi on the side of a very tall thing because you can see the lechi. If he want to use the Korah, tzarech sheyaseh about tziyur v'kior. So this is interesting. You need to go ahead and paint the Korah so everyone can see it. It's like red or you put like I don't know what, put neon lights around it, whatever it is, people can see it. Pir tziyur echa b'koisel min asid or shmei Korah. It has to be you put like some sort of drawing on the side or on top of the Korah so it draws the eyes. But that's only where it's exactly chaf. If it's higher than chaf, and you go ahead and you put something underneath the Korah, the ma'ato, let's say this is higher than chaf, but you go ahead and you put underneath, you want to put something on the bottom, a pedestal or something, to memayit this is my here, but it's memayit the height of the Korah, the binyan rachav tefach, you could go ahead, that's gonna work. If you want to go ahead and my chaf, that works. However, let's say the height of the walls is not yud. You want to dig down in the ground to go ahead and to make it asara, lachuk dal amos mavuy. You have to dig in dal amos into the mavuy. Al pnei kol rachvo. You have to mamash make a trench at the edge of the mavuy. Ve'ei mavuy niter belechi a korah adshu psuchim l'soicha shtei chatzeres. There's a different din that a mavuy is not niter unless with a lechi unless you have two chatzeres opened to the Mavuy. Like, there used to be that you had the Rishus Rabim, and a Mavuy was like a side street, so to speak, and you had on the sides, you had a Chotzer, which had the houses open to a Mavuy, and Mavuy went out to the main road. So it needs to have Shnei Chatzeros, Chotzer Shnei Batim, meaning you have to have two Chatzeros, I guess on either side, and you have to have four houses. Feel Kol Chatzeros Psuchos Zulazu, and even if all the chatzeros on the side are open one to the other, you need to have two chatzeros open to the mavuy. And some say that doesn't help. You need to have mamash open to the mavuy. And every pesach into the mavuy has to be less than dal tfachim. That in order that the diurim the diurim, the people who live there will they'll go around eating anyone's house. Shemakom apas gorim. That everyone knows. Some guy, he's making food for Shabbos. So everyone would be able to just go over and get food. Harishon la'ava sheni leben. Even if one house is the father's and one house is the son's, Aval bisha ben makabel pras v'shulchan aviv. He's a newlyweds, and they don't make Shabbos for the first 5 years of their lives, so they go to their parents' house every single Shabbos. They're still considered shnayim. Even if one side is a goy, the echad Yisrael, mahani, that's okay. Another tonight, there's two chatzeros, it's called a mavuy. Has to be a rectangle. If it's the other way, if it's wide, then and so the Pesach is over here, then that's not called a mavuy. It has to be that it's long. long and narrow, right. Then you need a pas arba. You need to go ahead and to have or shnei pasim, shnei moshuim, oteres pesach. You need to have a pas arba. You need to put, to go ahead and you need to have one dal amas thing, or shnei pasim, shnei moshuim. You have two pasim on each side, or you do a oteres pesach to matter it.